So Stephen King wrote a fantasy book, and it's also about a dog. So, of course, I was going to read it. Besides, just look how pretty the cover is. I actually didn't know how much I like these kinds of covers before I bought this book. It's got a proper fantasy thickness, also a proper Stephen King thickness, and like a proper fantasy book, we have chapter illustrations. So when I bought this book, I did go for, Stephen King wrote a fantasy book. But also, I chose this one because it was the first English copy I could find. If I'd had the ability to choose, I would still have chosen this cover over this one, which is the other one I found, and also the one used in the Swedish version. I think my only issue with this copy of the book is that I accidentally bought a hardcover. I like the look and feel of hardcovers, but I don't like the reading experience with hardcovers. So, with the aesthetic out of the way, I think the next logical step would be to talk about the plot. The plot in Fairytale is pretty straightforward. It's a familiar plotline, especially in the genre, where we have main character meets mentor, goes to another world for a quest, and we have a lot of fantasy typical elements. Like we have princess with a curse on her, we have an overall curse or disease. Let's just say it's a gray area between. And we have evil forces. We have someone giving themselves up for power. And we even have a prison part. And giants, mermaids. So we do have a lot of classical fantasy elements. Some of them with a little bit of twists, some of them a little bit unexpected. But overall, we do have a very classy fantasy plot. I wouldn't say the ending gave me satisfaction, but it made sense. And it tied up a lot of loose ends. And the ones that wasn't tied up also made sense and was acknowledged not to be tied up. It was a strong plot. Speaking of fantasy elements, the world building was also very satisfying. We didn't get to know more than our main character did, and a lot of it made sense in a fantasy kind of way. We have 2 moons, which is kind of a standard fantasy element. Not that they collided and crushed. That was new for me. But yeah, we did get a lot of standard fantasy world building and also some new elements like the curse, disease, gray area. Also the night soldiers, which I feel is a fairly common concept of having some kind of soldiers during the night kind of thing. But the way they were made up made me really like them. Also we have the snab, which was odd, but a really great addition. The snab was one of the great characters. And also Radar, the dog, which does stand for a big part of the main plot. She's a dog. I don't think I could dislike her for being a dog. We also have, like I said, the night soldiers are, not only do I like the design of them, but I also like the characters from the night soldiers that we interacted with. I did enjoy them, I want to know more about them. As well as the prisoners were also very diverse cast of characters in the prison. And I didn't dislike any of them. I think a lot of the story was saved by one of the prisoners who played a part for a little bit after as well. Let's just call him the Monkey Man. The best character in this book. And the worst character in this book was Charlie Reed, our main character. Charlie's a believable teenager. Maybe a bit of too believable teenager. So I do think the book would have been more in my taste if we followed someone else in the story. Actually, if we followed anyone else in the story. But I think the prison part was the part I enjoyed the most. So if I could get just a whole book about the prisoners and the night soldiers, I would probably enjoy it 10 times more. But I didn't hate the book. I just hated the main character, which kind of made the language hard as well, since we're following the reincarnation of cringe in first person. And I think the first time we got an unsarcastic awesome sauce, that just broke it. And it wasn't the first time. It was kind of frequently used, and a lot of other things that made it feel just awkward. But I do blame that on the main character being the point of view. Because we did get a small subchapter with Radar's point of view, which just read super easily. As someone who grew up reading both King and fantasy, I don't regret reading it. I like the concept, but for me, the execution left too much to be desired. So, in the end, I don't recommend Fairy Tail as a fantasy novel. I believe there's a lot of other great books out there more worthy of your time, both by King and in the fantasy genre. Speaking of other great books, if you want, I would love to hear all about your favorite ones down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!